These hives, modern in its form and construction, but very old in its nature, resembling, to a certain degree, natural cavities in which bees survived millions of years. Attractiveness of such hives and this kind of beekeeping is in its characteristics. There is no lifting, working in uncomfortable bent position. There is minimal irritation of bees during inspections, simple construction, and there is no necessity for complex, expensive infrastructure of contemporary classic hives, also known as Langstroths. Extracting honey not require expensive devices too. No wonder that such beekeeping gains popularity among backyard hobbyists, older persons, not brownie women, and all who don't have aspiration to collect great amount of honey. They have more than enough from this useful hobby for themselves, friends, and neighbors. Even city environment is not an obstacle for cultivation of such hobby. General principles of beekeeping in such hives are very similar to that practiced with Langstroths, however techniques are different. Simple construction consists of 4 panels, 2 on which the hive stands and 2 sides in the form of a letter V. In the lower part of such formed cavity, there is necessary to put some kind of movable grill to limit development of clusters in vertical dimension. Essential things in this kind of hives are stiff bars called top bars. This is something known for ages, but because of its presently defined width and not yet quite definitely defined transverse shape, they are assumed as modern. They have to be stiff and stick together precisely, forming this way the ceiling of hive. The width should be 1 1/4 inch in a nest area and 1 1/2 inch in honey storage area. Some beekeepers practice 1 3/8 inch for entire hive. This kind of bars and hives don't necessitate frames. The entrance of hive in Polish called Wojtek is situated by the one of sides on which the hive stands. Instead of transverse shape of letter V, such hives could be built in the shape of reverse trapeze. In such situation, they will necessitate 5 panels. Up to now, there is no any standards related to a dimension of hives except of width of top bars. External width without cover of my hives is from 18 inches to 24. Wider hives I don't recommend. Depth of cavities for plaster in my hives vary, and it is subject of experiment, but it is from 10 inches to 16. Most emotions, concerns, uncertainties aroused with the first step in the art of beekeeping. As an activities with bees progresses, these uncertainties disappearing, leaving pleasant feeling of joy and satisfaction, despite sometimes happening errors or temporary vain attempts. Such one of the first steps is installation of bee family from purchased standard packet in own built with own hands hive. This instrument, this is my podcinacz, which I constructed, whittled, and almost not letting it off my hand when playing with my hives. It is now indispensable for me. This, what I demonstrate here, is just this first step. Yesterday, not having enough time to install this packet, I placed this cage with bees on the grill in the cavity of the hive to take care of them later and let them go out. The packet, it is typical commercial cage in which there are bees, a small cage with queen, and can with sugar syrup. Little cage with queen hangs on easy flexible metal strip in the orifice in the roof of cage. Sliding it toward the opening after removing the cane with syrup, we can pull it out. Absolutely not convinced of contemporary devices to shake the bees from the box, I invented a different method, which I called metoda tekturki, what in English could be the method of little cardboard. This method prevents escaping bees from the box and phenomenon of cloud of bees around during shaking them from the box. In this method, some fairly stiff paper, thin cardboard or thin plate of metal is slided in the orifice between the can and upper surface of box during slow pulling the can from the box. If done efficiently, not even one bee should escape from the box. This way, the little metal strip on which the cage with queen hangs is slided toward opening after can is removed, and the cage with queen is pulled out, quickly covering the opening again. This little cage with queen is covered with nurses who stay on it and don't want to leave it at all. This cage with queen and bees on it should be hanged between bars above Wojtek, the entrance, usually between the second and the third bar. The box with bees, after placing it in the cavity, after about 2 hours, should be empty. bees will leave it to our little cage with queen, and there form more or less dense ball around it. Now we may close them in this cavity and let them relocate to more appropriate place, which will be their permanent home. Cardboard covering the opening of the box have to be removed, so bees will be able to leave and gather around the queen. After an hour or two, we may look through the window to be sure that the box is empty and queen is ready to be released from captivity. This is the view I found after opening the hive again. Bees are still a bit disoriented, traveling on the walls, but mostly gathered around her queen. Cane with syrup may be removed, and the box, of course, too. In the box should be only dead bees, what is fairly normal after several days of traveling in captivity. The box will look something like this. And this is the time to release the queen from captivity. To do so, we have to spread the bars where the little cage with the queen hangs, pull it out, remove the plug, release her, and I think that it would be good to release her directly to the partially already formed nucleus, as I do. To remove a plug is easy. When queen is already in and freely moves, the process of organization of bee family and normal function begins. Combs start to appear, bee will fly, and we will see very soon that they are bringing in some pollen. In this period, it is very necessary to give them syrup, since the family is very small, not organized yet, and not able to gather sufficient amount of nectar to feed themselves. When a queen is already free in the ball of bees, a normal functioning of bees family starts. At this moment, a nucleus is not yet quite formed. The bees are still disoriented, traveling on the walls, but in about an hour, this ball should be better formed around the queen and more dense. In the warmer temperature next day, this is an evening, this ball will loosen up, bees will start to fly, gather nectar and pollen, and quickly build combs. This is a time of very intense activities of bees family and its organization and function. This is also a time when it is good to observe the activity of bees. The window is very useful in it, because the bees sometimes may build their combs not quite as we would like them to build, namely not exactly along the bars. Not only hobbyists tend to experiment, bees too. Perhaps this feature let them survive through millions of years and in different environments. For us, the hobbyists, some of their experiments or ideas not always suits us, especially when they start to build combs not exactly along bars or across of it. Then we say them, oh no. If this is noticed early, we will be successful in correcting and guiding them to correct it without relatively big problems. However, if we notice it when comes our state of development and in large area, this will be rather troublesome, and to cope with it, to fix it, will be difficult, unpleasant, and also unpleasant for bees. For sure, they will let us know about it, what will get even more unpleasant for us, because it will be painful. So, the observation of behavior of bee family, especially during their intense activities, is very important. But isn't it the pleasure to commune with nature? Late the same evening, tempted by curiosity, I found such view. It is rather chilly spring evening. Bees are not flying and are concentrated in such concise and dense ball around her queen. A few days later, well, maybe a week or two, with the warm spring weather, our endeavors and all these concerns and uncertainties on the first step will be rewarded with such wonderful view. And the following melody is my musical arrangement of the fragment of old Polish carol with the word Gloria, Gloria in excelsis Deo.